Um, I'd say how I found my passion for music was that, like I said, fourth grade, I'm in my room. I found this stereo, I ended up figuring out like getting all the chords and stuff together to make it work. I started listening to these songs, a lot of Kanye West, a lot of Jay-Z's. It's kind of like Watch the Throne era. And I would learn the words, and then I'd literally wait by my stereo for those songs to come back on so I could rap the words back to the stereo and kind of like prove that I'd like learned these lyrics. And then obviously when I discovered this beautiful thing called YouTube and lyric videos, oh, my world was changed forever. It was so good. And I think when a few years later kind of started following Jesus and stuff, I started to change the music that I listened to, because I was like, oh man, like I want to live life for Jesus, but also some of the stuff in these songs kind of disagreeing with the life that I want to live. And that was like a personal conviction, not like a blanket statement for all people to listen to and to adhere by. But what it did was it put me into this mindset of, okay, how do I use music for Jesus? How do I use my life for Jesus? Developed forward a little bit. And once I started to kind of feel the dissonance or like the disconnect between good quality music, like music that was mixed well, mastered well, had good production behind it, lyrically masterful, etc. And then kind of like music with like a meaningful message, like content that could actually move the needle in people's lives, move them forward. When I started to realize those things had some disconnect to them, I was like, okay, there needs to be some way to put these together. And so I thought, okay, well, a way that I could possibly serve is to be part of what puts those two things together. So I stepped into music production, and I think that's where a lot of like the big passion for music came in. And going to the school that I went to California Lutheran University to study music production as a major. That school is also where I found this program called Young Life, where I was able to start kind of doing outreach ministry. And at first I was kind of really resistant to it. I was like, I don't know. But I went to a Young Life camp for a weekend, and I heard about how different people were in different parts of their walk of faith because of this program. And I was like, man, this is something I want to be a part of. So it's kind of the same idea of, okay, I see a disconnect, whether it's quality and content, or I see a disconnect, whether it's, hey, there's people out there in like the church world, and there's like the actual world that, high schoolers and college students live in. And I wish for there to be more connection between the two. So I'm like, man, how can I go forth and be part of what causes that connection to happen? And I think that's where the passion comes in, where I feel like I'm this little octopus, so to speak, grabbing all the things with my suction cups and bringing them together. And sometimes it's not even a matter of how can I do it for me, but I think if I can get two people together who are maybe didn't know that they needed to, like whether it's like someone who's like a musician and someone who's a producer, or someone who needs graphic design stuff and someone who has a church, or someone who's been looking for a church, they're trying to find a place, someone who does nothing, doesn't want anything to do with Jesus, but they do want community. Finding ways to connect people to the things that they really need. I think that's where my passion comes in, and that's the thing that I can then take into any job or any field. It's not just, oh, I want to be the world's best rapper, which is not my goal, or I just want to have a cool ministry. It's like, no, I mean, that the goal is so much deeper, and I think when you have a deeper why and a deeper goal, which often comes from trying, you become more passionate about the thing you're doing, even if it's not your first choice at a career.
Preach.